I appreciate all of you for jumping on and joining us today. This is going to be, and I think this is my favorite title we've come up with so far, the most unusual time of the year, a little holiday marketing webinar. So 2020, thank you guys for joining. Obviously really excited to get into it and dig in today. We've got two really great guests with us. And I'm looking forward to really kind of sharing a lot of the ideas that they've got, digging in a little bit further. And first, I wanted to just talk a little bit more about Socialbakers, share with you guys a little bit more about who we are. 12-year-old company, right? Been founded now since 2008. We've got offices in 14 countries around the world, over 500 employees, 3,000 plus clients. A lot of you, I saw some names that were very similar on the attendee list. So good to see some of those names again. Really great to have you. And from our perspective, right, being able to really kind of focus on and help you across so many different aspects of the business, right? We're tracking millions and millions of profiles every single day, helping you to understand what to post, when to post, what to spend your money on, and really becoming a lot more of that all-in-one tool for you and for your business today. We're going to be digging into a little bit of stats. And I think the thing that I always like kind of starting with is our holiday season started a little bit earlier this year. We were actually acquired by Astute. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with them. Astute is a major player in the customer experience space. And it allowed us to really combine two awesome companies to now allow you to really dig in and have a lot more omni-channel, dig farther into that customer journey. And we're really excited to start showcasing and digging into some of those aspects of the tools as well as we continue to combine the tools together. Astute is based in Columbus, Ohio, a little over 600 employees now total, 18 global offices when we add them into the mix, and now over 7,000 customers. Really, really exciting kind of part of our finalizing in the end of the year. So we're excited to share some of those things, what those are going to mean for you. I like always really starting off these webinars with, if we could have everybody just drop into the chat, let's get that started, because there's going to be a lot of questions. There's going to be times that you guys are going to want to ask both Sophie and Steven, who I'll introduce in a second, what they're up to. Where is everybody dialing in from today, or where are we kind of calling in from? I'd love it if we could maybe throw that into the chat, kick things off, and just get those fingers loosened up and ready to jump into this webinar. Let's see what we got here. Houston, we've got Connecticut, somebody all the way from Prague, our HQ, Miami, Waterloo. We're all over the place. So I love it. Portland even. Okay. So I love the way that we can kind of connect everybody here globally. There's a lot of, we even got Huntington Beach, another Connecticut. A lot of things happening here, but I'm loving being able to kind of bring everybody together. I'm going to just take a quick second to quickly introduce our two panelists today. I'll let them just kind of give a quick little introduction to themselves. First is going to be Sophie, and I'll let you kick off and kind of introduce yourself.
Of course, happy to. Thanks everyone for joining. So I'm Sophie Boissinot-Tremblay. I'm assistant manager for PR social media at ALDO. We're based in Montreal, and I've been with the company for almost 5 years now. So celebrating yet another holiday season with the brand.
What's up, everyone? I'm Steven Monterastelli.
Next we've got, Steven, go for it.
taking it from you, Bob. So I'm Steven Monterastelli, Associate Director, Data and Insights. I work for Ayzenberg, been with the company for about 6 years, going on 7. Day-to-day operations include kind of managing all aspects of social measurement for Xbox, as well as partnering with the team to execute the social strategy everyone sees today. So just going to kind of chat about that and kind of let it roll.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. So like I said, two really great guests. I want you guys to be able to ask questions. What I'll do is my best to make sure that I'm asking a few of the ones that I've already kind of prepared. But ultimately, we want this to be, conversational. I want you to get involved, push the questions to us in the chat. I'll be monitoring that as we kind of go. So I'll try to kind of fill those in and kind of bounce those into the conversation as we're rolling through this. So today's agenda, we're going to be digging into the 2020 holiday marketing environment, talking a little bit more about how digital is really kind of growing and driving the business, strategy and measurement of that. And then we're going to get both Sophie and Steven's predictions for the future, which I'm really excited to kind of dig into. So I know that 2020 has been a completely crazy year, right? I think we've all been on enough of these Zooms. Everybody thinks maybe they're on mute or maybe they're not. I feel like that's been my like running joke every day. But I think when we start looking into how things have progressed for the holidays, one of the things that was really, I think, interesting was that traditionally holiday plans and searching, those things really, right? People are really ramping up for Black Friday. They're getting ready to kind of get things rolling after that, like everything that's kind of coming into the end of the year, right? This year, what we really noticed was that the search volume actually started 5 months earlier in April. We saw a 77% increase as compared to the year over year. And, so many of our brands are really now ultimately trying to dig in, find how they're going to engage their fans. How are they going to continue to create really great experiences? Give us all something to kind of do instead of sitting here at home and, wherever we're working from or what's kind of happening. So for us being able to really start digging into holiday ideas, gift guides, we hosted an IG Live yesterday with StockX where they mentioned having to shoot campaigns completely fully remote as well. So this has all been new for our marketing partners, right? What we also noticed was that ad spends are also increasing very heavily as we start looking at it as compared to the 2019 holiday season. So you'll see here a really kind of high uptick into what's going on from an ad spend. I think for us, obviously, everybody's really focused on trying to drive those online sales because none of us are leaving our house, or if we are, we're trying to do that safely, which we're going to talk a little bit more about today. But I think when we started seeing what was happening with the ad spend perspective, what we also noticed was that the reach was not increasing, right? So this is meaning that the competition is getting fiercer. The dollars are getting higher because we're all trying to bring everybody either to our site or drive them, to buy anything that we're kind of doing from that perspective. But when we're looking at those day-to-days and we're starting to see that competition reach out, I find that this is where we have to get creative. And that's where we've got these two great panelists to kind of share their knowledge, start shedding some light into how they've been doing it from two completely different sides of the industry. However, I think you're going to see that there's a lot of things that really had some nice overlaps if I've really gotten to know both of their strategies and things like that. So to kick off, let's start with how are the events of 2020 impacting your holiday marketing strategy? I see Steven's off mute, so I'm going to just pass to him first and let him rip.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob. I would say more than ever right now, there really is a need to be human. And I think as marketers, we're always talking about how, I sit in meetings, I always think about, people say, let's be authentic, let's be credible, let's be human. But what does that actually mean? And I think this particular pandemic has shown us that we really need to understand the community, and especially on social, right? People are coming to social because they want to engage with the brands they love. They're looking for those brands to really amplify their shared values. And currently that's been the insight that we've really gained, is that we need to be the fan. We need to show the fans that we understand them. And, for video games, like we are Xbox, that's video games. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be lighthearted. And fans are coming to us because they want to know that we understand them. We can amplify their interests. People are stuck at home right now, and they're not just playing games for entertainment. It's actually becoming an outlet to which they are socializing. They're exploring new topics. So our social presence is really aimed at delivering that experience and kind of amplifying those shared interests.
It's like today, the way that I'm like connecting with my brother, connecting with my friends, grabbing a game or grabbing some time to just like hop online and be able to have that kind of open end or that chat has been honestly one of the things that I look forward to, right? As someone who does play those games, because for me, it's just always a need to get away and just like start something else. So.
And that's what it means to be human, right? Is that we're, at the end of the day, we are Xbox, and we have product, we have certain business needs that need to be hit. But we also have a very passionate fan base that is coming to this social channel, to these communities as an outlet, as a kind of beacon of hope in what is right now like a really dark time. And it's a bit different than other holiday seasons, because what we've all been going through is a shared experience. We all understand it to some degree, and we're all kind of living it together. So I think just kind of hitting on that, and this particular piece of content came towards the beginning of the lockdowns, but it was really kind of not only amplifying our own values, like each one of those characters listed there as one of our hero characters. We want people to know that it's okay, play games. Games can be that outlet, that kind of escape for you during this time. We understand it. There's a lot going on right now.
I like that. And Sophie, I'd love to kind of have you jump in and dig into kind of where your head's at on that as well.
Of course. So for us, we've definitely adapted our content strategy because we've also seen that, a number of different behaviors have changed in our consumer, and that also means what they want to wear. There's a major shift into casual styles. So whether it be sneakers or, work from home essentials or easy wearable boots just to go and run your errands. And so we did a number of surveys and consumer insights, and we found that our opportunity for our campaign for the holidays was to uplift our consumer, find like little pockets and little moments of joy. And also, of course, like Steven said, being very relatable and engaging as possible. And that also means that showcasing the moments that they'll actually be living. So Zoom parties, over the keyboard dressing, intimate gathering rather than big family parties. So that's definitely the strategy in terms of messaging and in terms of imagery that we went for the holiday campaign. And when it comes to so organic social media and our PR efforts as well, at this time last year, we were hosting major events in Toronto, London, and New York. And now they've made place for virtual gatherings and online classes with editors and influencers and friends, just to stay connected, but digitally. And yeah, of course, our tone for social also is always to be relatable and engaging. And that also means accepting that this year has been hard for everyone on many different levels, and just making sure that, we're there for them and that they feel ready to embark on this very different holiday season.
And I think, we've even started to see a lot of the messaging kind of communicate that as well, right? So through Socialbakers listening tool, we were able to actually also start identifying those trends, right? What are those 5 holiday marketing kind of like hashtags right now that are really jumping and really kind of popping? The couple that really are starting to pop out further for us were the shop local, shop small, and really now starting to ultimately drive that like commerce within your community, right? So it's been that really kind of community driven feel, wanted to, kind of support your local folks and the folks like you guys, right? That are going to be the ones that are really kind of being able to drive into that. So I think, right, we start looking at how does that benefit us, right? What are the questions that are being asked, right? Is this something I can help with like last minute? Are we able to then take and reuse that content? So feeling like I know UGC is really important, right, on both of your sides, and we'll dig into that, but starting to really see the bigger picture, what's really kind of just happening outside of the own channels of what we're posting or what our competitors are posting. It's really kind of taking in that whole voice from the consumer on both sides of that, right, as well. So I think for us, it's really ultimately helping to dig in and understand, right, what are those key terms that people are mentioning as well that I find, right? These are some of the topics that we saw trending amongst Black Friday this year in 2020. Again, right, retail, footwear that you mentioned. I'm the biggest sneaker nerd ever. So I'm like, how am I going to find something cool when I actually do leave the house to wear, right? Like, what am I actually going to throw on my feet? Because it's like, this is the way that I'm always like, I'm going to try to do something to get my brain off of what else is going on, right? So that's also supported by if it's emojis or if there's things that are kind of popping up and happening. These are the ways that really we're trying to help not only, brands that we're partnered with, but share these out as thought leaders in the space to ultimately help really drive that, kind of that feel for what's happening today. Obviously, the shop local and the Black Friday content were something that were just super, super relevant, and the was really kind of high, right? So I think from our side, it's really how do we continue to kind of move the needle? How do we continue to kind of drive this forward? And I think, right, ultimately, that kind of leads me into the uptick as far as, what's happening from the shoppability perspective. We've seen that just increasing monster, right, from last year, as you can see here with that 28% increase. What type of measurement or, what type of uptick are you starting to see or growth have you kind of seen maybe on both of your sides? I'd love to dig into that. Sophie, if you want to maybe kick that off on this one, I'll let you go first.
Of course. I mean, for us, having a number of brick and mortar stores closed throughout many different regions, we've definitely seen a major uptick in our online shopping, and mobile is definitely first as well when it comes to how people are browsing on our website and our digital properties. And we've seen that in the last 8 months, we've had a digital shift that equivalent to 6 years. So it's definitely something that we're continuously embracing and continuing to increase our efforts on all our digital channels.
Yeah, and I would say over on the Xbox social side, while social itself is not driving the last click sale, the final conversion, it is a kind of primary touch point in that funnel. And what we've seen since this pandemic is there is an increased interest in the content that we're putting out. Fans are really staying up to date with what's happening in the industry, what's happening, with their favorite games. They're reading the reviews. They're becoming more informed. So we want to make sure that anything that we put out there is kind of relying on the trust that is serving them based on the trust that we have built beforehand. And any kind of action that we make them or ask them to take is really one that we believe in too. Right. Kind of going back to, we are in a launch right now. The Xbox Series X just launched, amidst a pandemic, but it's the primary messaging is not to go, hey, go buy this new hardware. That is not the only thing we care about, especially when talking with our fans. We know that fans are coming. People are using social in a way to kind of research brands. They want to find, again, these brands that align with their values and kind of represent who they are. And, organic social as a whole can play a pivotal role in kind of showcasing that and amplifying what those fans believe in. This post on the left, it was the first time for the Xbox One launch, we congratulated Sony. There's a huge competitor. And at the end of the day, we have fans that have both consoles. We need to respect that, and we're not here to say that Xbox is better than the competitor. We're saying that if you like Xbox, we're here, come play with us.
Yep. I love that.
Yeah. And then the ones on the right, even, we had our launch day celebration. That was really great. Kind of just offer day. And, again, going back to the situation that we're in right now and being in lockdown, people are looking for those moments to kind of hang out and have fun, some sense of normalcy. And we tried to recreate that with the launch day celebration. It was purely a celebration for fans, Xbox fans, gaming fans, just come in, hang out, engage. And we saw a lot of great activity throughout the day. And again, just kind of amplifying those values. At no point was it about getting people to click through and buy a Series X. If they have the opportunity to do that, we're hoping that we build the affinity with the brand and the loyalty to the brand, to which when they see that opportunity to click through, they're really excited to do it, and they're doing it on their own will instead of some kind of action that we're pushing on them. And then the bottom right, again, just kind of going back to that humanity aspect, it's really like, we all know it, like 2020 sucks, like, and you know, for a variety of reasons. And I think it's really important to, you know, we can all get caught up in everything that's happening and having to push, you know, certain types of marketing. And I think there's moments throughout that can kind of bring a little bit of levity and just let people know that at the end of the day, we're all in it together, and we're all kind of, you know, figuring it out, trying to get through it.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think, you know, watching brands and, you know, for both of you, the engaging of your fans, right? Like really kind of creating the ability to feel like they have that, you know, kind of partnership back and forth with you.
Absolutely.
I love that aspect of it, because to me, like, that makes me excited about products. It makes me want to follow more. It makes me want to be more a part of it. Right. And those are the ways that we try to promote all of our folks to work with, you know, the teams and or their fans, and kind of build that engagement. Right. So creating that one-to-one obviously is something that we really kind of always are driving. And I do think that is obviously the goal from that perspective, for sure.
Yeah. And to that point, the engagement opportunities don't stop with that initial piece of content.
Right.
It's really a consistent voice and tone that is carried out throughout, you know, every piece of the content. And, you know, the reactive team, we have a really talented reactive team who understands the community and is in the trenches with them, looking for those opportunities to engage fans and really connect with them one-to-one. I mean, these are your fans. These are the people that are going out and buying your products. Like, we want them to know that they're making they're making the right choice, or they believe in the choice that they're making.
Right.
And I think we can do that by getting in there and just letting them know, you know, hey, if you're having a great day, we love games, you know, just kind of commenting on what they are experiencing with us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like kind of leads me right into it. It's really ensuring that audience, right? Like, how do they have that best experience with you digitally, through social? Like, Sophie, how are you, and how is ALDO now also ensuring that same type of appeal, right, for that audience?
Of course. Yeah, we had to adapt quickly to ensure that we put together the best safety measures for a customer, but also more like customer care features. And if anyone visits our health center on our social platform, you can interact with our customer care team through live chat, through email, phone, DM, or comments in our different platforms. So really making sure that we're lockstep with them and that they have like an easy journey. And another service we recently launched is the store appointment. So in select locations in the US and Canada, people can click through and book an appointment in store. They can chat on the phone with an associate there who will like put products for them that they are interested in, just ready for them to go and try on. They can skip the line out in front, and they can also book the same service for returns and exchanges, and also for order pickups. So just ensuring that the journey is easy for them and that they feel like, shopping for shoes, you either can go in store, book your appointment, or you can also just try it when you receive them at your house and send them back if you need another color or another size, and that will be there with you.
Yeah. I find that, now watching how flexible, especially ALDO and other brands are being with the stay at home, safety measures that are going on. I like what you guys are doing with allowing people to come into the store, but if not, like having that flexibility, I feel like you guys are always active as far as responding and making sure people are getting the right products. Like, those are the things that now, that customer experience that I was talking about before, if you lose a customer through those things, like they're probably gone for a long time or forever, right? In those instances. So crafting to making these like really nice touches, like those are the things that I find are really, really kind of helpful from that perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think like one of the things that I was really excited to dig into today with you guys was really the content types. What's really becoming most successful for you? And Steven, if you want to kick off and kind of dig into that, I'd love to, love to kind of hear what are those things that are moving the needle today? What other things could you be sharing with our fans and some of the attendees that are looking for those little hot, quick tips?
Yeah, absolutely. I think at the top of the list, as far as high impact pieces of content, I always think about giveaways, right? Giveaways, retweet to wins, like and follow, huge over on Twitter. And they drive, for the respective brands, they can drive really great performance. But, one of the issues one of the challenges with contests and trying to drive interaction through contests is that the engagement and the fan interaction can often be passive. Fans are doing whatever they can to kind of satisfy this entry and not really thinking beyond that moment. And, and it kind of goes against the very objective and messaging of our content. We want to create these experiences that last and stay top of mind for the fans. So giveaways, high impact, but something that, needs a little bit of work. So kind of going and strategizing as to how we can really create that level of impact, but a more qualified experience, really leaning into memes. Anyone who's on social knows that memes are becoming they're everywhere. They're relatable, they're engaging, they're consumable. Oftentimes you don't even need to know the origin of the content to really understand the insight. And that is huge. And I think taking some of those learnings and applying it to the content and making content for the fans themselves, right? Like console wars, make love, not console wars, kind of playing on that old adage. Fans absolutely ate it up because it comes at a time when the PlayStation 5 is going head to head with the Xbox Series X. It's topical, it's engaging, and it's not anything more than what it's trying to be. Similarly with your more than your KD ratio, something that's often regarded as like a prestige stat within first person shooters. It's, kind of bringing that moment of levity, knowing that some fans may not be good at the games. Like but we still value them. It doesn't matter. We're all here to play. And
for sure,
I think like even going a step further, around the Xbox Series S pre-order phase, there was a time where the business was kind of gearing up to really launch or open up and release messaging around opportunities to pre-order. Well, through a series of events, it began to leak. Yeah. And we had an opportunity. Fans were going crazy. They didn't know that this console existed. The buzz was starting. And that's what that bottom left is that as soon as that leak hit, we went out with that. And what it did is it provided a subtle nod to the community that let them know that we were watching and that we know what's going on.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like that did monster numbers. Like I think over 170,000 likes right there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable on a piece of content. And likewise, for the launch of the Xbox Series X, we saw a moment start to kind of take off in which people were recording videos of the Xbox Series X catching fire, quote unquote. It ended up being that they were blowing vape smoke out of frame into the Series X as it turned off. So it looked like the smoke was billowing up. And at that particular moment, the team had an opportunity, and it was an opportunity to not only, kind of squash the rumors, but also back the community.
Right.
And that's what we did. We went out and we put out this messaging that says, we can't believe we have to say this, but please do not blow vape smoke into your Xbox Series X. And that took off. And naturally, like in the thread below that is official messaging, pointing to Xbox support and kind of letting them know if there are any serious inquiries, like this is the outlet to do so. But this particular moment allowed the Xbox brand to take back that conversation and really own it.
Yeah.
And kind of capitalize on the viral momentum that was already established with these kind of false rumors.
It's like the ultimate humanizing of the brand.
Yeah.
Because everybody heard we are doing this. Yeah. Like that, like the meme is awesome. Like that little GIF, it's unreal. I love that one. So, and it's absolute insanity in hindsight, right? Like, I mean, a lot of this is happening in real time. Yeah.
And I think that's where, even to your note, like using Socialbakers as a way to uncover those insights. What are people talking about? What are people responding to? And really getting in there to understand both the community and, the wider kind of channel health in a way that, it is not possible, like currently with some of the other tool sets we're using. So.
Yeah, I think ultimately that's always the goal, is like, how do we make it easier for you to find these insights, right? Like, I love that part about our job and the software, that we can literally elevate those things, because we want you to focus on creating really cool content like this and like drive messaging. So something you kind of mentioned, obviously highlighting on the giveaways and really kind of driving, and Sophie, you guys were also doing some things around those giveaways. So I felt like those kind of meshed together. But really driving it via UGC, right, was, I know, the message that ALDO was driving. So tell us a little bit more maybe about that. I'd love to hear some of that stuff.
Of course. So, I mean, the holidays is a perfect time to kind of reward our audience and have some giveaways. But we also had a major moment this year in August with our Step Into Love contest. It was a major TikTok dance challenge, and our first time executing such a program, and it went so well. We had over 5 billion views on this contest, so amazing job. The campaign was a dance video, the first ever campaign that was video first, truly, and we had a great music in the background too that went viral at the same time as we were launching the campaign. So overall, that was an amazing experience for us, and a way to engage with our customer in a way that we've never had before. So we're continuing, with video, with UGC, user-generated content, whether it comes from our influencers, our consumers, and even our store staff and ALDO HQ staff. Makes up around like 60 to 70% of our content mix overall. And it performs like around 30% more in terms of engagement than any other type of content. So we try to work with creators from all around the globe, whether it be on static image, on these contests, on video content. And also, we touched on user experience before, and a series of help videos we recently launched is called ALDO Insider, and it's kind of to replace the conversation that a consumer would have in store with a store associate. So we have our product leaders talk through our different features of our new products, whether it be like weatherproof boots, just to make sure that people really our audience understands, the different tech features of our products and how they can style it and how they can wear it. So definitely, giveaway and deals, UGC, influencer marketing, and video are like the core pillars, I would say, of our current strategy.
Awesome. It's funny because as you kind of mentioned TikTok, I had somebody asking and like, how have we not talked about TikTok yet in the question? So that was like one of the things that I know both of you are using it really, kind of in like very heavily now, right? And really leaned in there. I think, and please, if you guys have questions that are on here live with us, pass those through, because that was one of the ones that somebody had just shared that I was like, I feel like it was already coming that way, but yeah. It took us 20 to get into TikTok. Is always like surprising to me, since everybody's obsessed with it now. I still am trying to figure it out. I'm personally really bad at it, but
Yeah, I think
Instagram Reels as well.
Yeah, seriously. TikTok is an interesting really interesting platform. I think to anybody who is trying to kind of make a presence on the platform, I think it really requires an intimate knowledge of the platform. Like TikTok is unlike any other social channel. It has its own kind of culture, its own creativity, and platform to, in platform tools that really make it kind of stand out from other channels. It's also highly reliant on trends. There are certain things that trend within that platform that aren't necessarily on other platforms. And I think, again, kind of the marketing buzzword, but, everyone wants to create these bespoke experiences. But it is so true for TikTok. You have to make a presence on that channel that is in service of that community instead of your own brand priority. I think some of the most successful brands are really getting on there and taking the time to not only understand who their target audience is on the platform, but also how the platform itself behaves and why people use it the way that they do.
Oh, I feel like I'm always like out of the loop on there. I get sucked in, right? And I'm like flipping and like just kind of like,
yeah.
And I'm like, where there's 40 minutes just flew by, right? And I'm just like going through it. So it's fun to me to watch now how it's gone from, really kind of that personal side of things to the brand just engaging and building it, right? Like I really wish they would release an organic API. That's my big with them. And I know every brand we meet with is like, how do you guys not have TikTok? Like, what is going on? And like, believe me, we want to, and we will, I know, coming soon, which will be the first thing that we're, probably messaging and doing another webinar on that next and getting all of our experts like you guys back on. But yeah, it's one of those ones that watching the level of engagement, how quickly things have grown. I mean, seeing here the, Step Into Love campaign, right? Now Xbox launching and really driving this forward to over, 10 million likes is insane to me. I like understanding your audience and realizing that they're on those platforms is part of that, right? And being able to adapt to that. How are you really now kind of using things to find and identify that? Or how are you kind of now trying to really kind of manage their expectations that like, I also know that you guys don't have huge teams, right? So like being on all these platforms is another part of where it's kind of overwhelming sitting in your chair, right? So love to kind of dig into that next.
Awesome. A quick note on TikTok too, is that to anyone exploring the platform, like do not get discouraged if you don't go viral, right? Like it's a numbers game. You are playing to the preferences of the algorithm. It's just a matter of you got to keep on trying. And sometimes TikTok can have a long tail. Something that you posted weeks ago may surface again just because it's relevant within the platform. Important note, because you'll begin to see as we go into measurement, it's really kind of determining how there's different types of thresholds and measuring content appropriately based on what we're trying to do, the objective at hand. I think, especially with TikTok, some of the other social channels and our presence there, it's really about growth and engagement, but not any one on their own is sufficient enough. It's really about growing and scaling the engagement opportunities with that fan base. We want to see our engagement grow as the fan base grows, right? It's not enough just to balloon our audience and retain the same level of interaction. We want to measure how the new fans are experiencing, and are the engagement rates increasing as time goes on. And I think that is something, especially again, kind of going back, Socialbakers allows us to get in there and understand that we can measure up, TikTok, even though it's not in there, it is, all the other platforms are. We can get in there and see the performance prediction by hour for the first 72 hours. I'm able to see how the content performs against the other, 90% of my content, and really get an understanding as to how this particular moment ranks in the comparison of other channels. And I think that is key to really understanding. And, naturally, we want to know when these moments are happening. And I think having a tool set and having the ability to kind of take a little bit deeper dive into what is driving that reaction is really important. As far as some of the other tools, I think Alexa is really great for audience kind of profiling, segmentation. It kind of measures the social engagement and some of the social consumer data throughout the web. And it's really important to kind of have that purview, because the people that are engaging with your brand aren't necessarily always following you.
Got it.
So it's important to know kind of who they are, what they like. So potentially, you can get them to subscribe and come back for more.
No, I like that. And Sophie, I'll let you jump in here.
Of course, yeah. So echoing Steven, engagement and growth are definitely things that we look at. Metrics and KPIs are definitely really important to us, and we build a very robust dashboard that helps, shape and re-engineer our social strategies, like week after week and month after month. So we rely, of course, on Socialbakers for anything that has to do with our own analytics, and also to benchmark us against our competitors. So we're able to track, how our content is doing versus them. One metric that I particularly enjoy is the engagement per 1,000, because it kind of level sets everyone, and you can really see the engagement and not it be biased by how many followers they have or we have.
Yeah.
And we also, traffic and conversion is not our primary objective as organic social, but it is definitely something that we measure with UTM parameters tracking, definitely important for us still to contribute to the business. And one last thing I can also say in terms of KPIs, we want to understand our audience behavior also in a qualitative way. So we have wonderful insights from our consumer insights team through like surveys and through research, just to have that balance of qualitative and quantitative.
Yeah. Well, I know you were taking some of those things that they were also sharing and folks were sharing from on the ALDO side. And now with the giving back piece that you guys are doing, I thought was really interesting also.
Yes.
I'll let you, I don't want to try to do it any.
Of course. No, that's a great moment for the holidays. Giving back is definitely something that we want to do and continue to do. And we had a great success with our fashion face masks back in August. It was called Unmask Inequality to really support racial equality. And we're partnering this time with the same partners. So national urban leagues in the US and BBPA and True North Aid in Canada. And so really to support BIPOC communities. And this time it's this cute keychain, like heart-shaped keychains that you see. So 100% of the net proceeds go to these amazing foundations. Yeah.
We've seen now more than ever brands really being asked, like, what do you stand for? What are you doing? How are you giving? Like everybody's really holding those brands that they're, either buying, supporting, right, being a part of, like really holding them a lot more accountable, which we've talked about over the last couple of webinars that we've actually had as well. So it's really kind of, it's unique to be able to, share those things and be a part of them, but also be giving back to something that is so.
Of course. And it also contributes, tremendously to our share of voice and brand sentiment online, social listening. We recently onboarded Brand Watch for this, and we really want to make sure that, we stay lockstep with what's going on, and we can continue to have, wonderful moments with our fans.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. I'd love to kind of dig into a little bit around the future, right? So we obviously now have carried it through what's working today, how you're measuring what's working today, what is making your brands equally successful from both two different, kind of worlds on that. I'd love to just dig into a little bit around, the e-com, some trends, things that you're seeing. Steven, I'd love to have you kick this off. Where are you kind of seeing that movement happening for 2021? I can't wait for it to get here.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting space right now, especially with the pandemic, just learning that there's actually an older demographic that is becoming more accustomed to online shopping. And there's predictions that state that the convenience of it, once exposed, they may not go back. So I think as we move further into 2021, the need to kind of deliver experiences that make purchasing more accessible and readily available for any user is going to be, I think, much more top of mind. First thing that comes to mind for me is, greater integration with any kind of AR technology. It's already happening across, Amazon. Some of the other retail stores allow you to kind of preview in your living room. I know at one point Instagram was playing around with AR shopping filters to which you could try on and then purchase through the filter. So I think there's going to be a greater rise in that. The technology and the experiences will become more optimized and more accessible across the entire board, to which, something like Fleets, maybe, Fleets just went public, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, and we could see greater integration similar to what we see over on Instagram stories. So definitely kind of with the end goal prediction, just easier shopping experience for anybody who kind of hops online and wants to find that product, especially being in such a crowded space right now. Those experiences, those kind of journeys are going to be critical to getting people to convert.
I love that. And how about you, Sophie? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Steven. And another thing on our radar is live streaming shopping. So we've seen some major luxury brands do it. So they live stream an event and people can shop at the same time as they view the stream. And it's something that is rumored to be coming to Facebook and Instagram. And we also know that YouTube, may be rolling out some shoppable features in the near future. So we definitely want e-commerce to be on all platforms moving forward as much as possible. And hopefully these betas roll out in Canada as well. Sometimes we feel a little bit left out. Checkout is not yet rolled out here, but we're really excited for live shopping.
I love that. And I think and for me, again, the platform is rolling out all these capabilities around that shopping, making it super simple for me to buy an app. It's literally, to me, the new infomercial, and I'm such a sucker for, if I see it on Instagram, I'm like, my friends will joke me all the time, but I'm like, wow, shit, I actually do really think that would be helpful or useful. And I end up getting sucked in or becoming this new, product evangelist for so many brands.
Yeah, I bought a couple dog keychains that way.
Yeah. I'm always like, wow, do I really need that golf thing or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's how did they find me and target me completely perfect that I'm sucked in again, so that's always my weakness. Yeah, I think, one of the other things that I was going to also ask you guys that I think was always kind of cool, what are your favorite holiday campaigns? Whether this is something you worked on, something that you found that is another brand that you're just drawn to. Love to hear where you're kind of at on that.
I think for myself, I have two. I have one, probably my all-time favorite is the adaptive controller spot. I believe it was Super Bowl 2018. Just kind of highlighted it was a super that showed the release of the adaptive controller. So the adaptive controller, for those who may not be aware, is an Xbox branded controller that makes gaming accessible for just about anyone. It has all different types of attachments, so anybody who has disabilities can game just like anyone else. And this particular spot, highlighted a group of kids that were friends and kind of came together. They had difficulties playing with regular controllers, and the spot showed let the kids play with these controllers, the new adaptive controller. And it was just really touching because it was the first time that each one of these kids was able to play, and they felt normal. They felt like they fit in. And there was a quote in there that the dad was saying is that, when he's playing, he's just like everyone else. And it was such a powerful thing to really see these kids be so joyous and like so happy because of this stride and accessibility.
Awesome.
Yeah, that one I tear up every time I see that one. As far as a recent campaign, I would have to say probably some of the Borat sequel.
Yeah.
That entire marketing campaign was a little bit strange and very topical. It released on Prime Video, released a tweet saying that, Borat 2 is back. And, the marketing started with that. And an interesting thing happened because I believe that was towards the end of October, to which then we immediately went into the elections. And, it was, you didn't quite know whether or not it was being promoted for the movie or the elections and kind of overall political climate.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting because if we can't tell, it just highlighted the absurdity and the controversy of the times in a way that was, just like you were watching a movie, but in fact, it was reality. And some of the things that followed that, and I think the Rudy Giuliani piece was just,
yeah,
it was insane to see it play out in the real life.
Yeah, I feel like he's just got a way of kind of compelling everyone.
Yeah, and being that it had been so long since the first one, I think this came back with a little bit of freshness, new eyes. It wasn't, maybe people had forgotten that this character had even existed.
Yeah. That was great. I love that one. Sophie, how about you?
Something, my example is from the beauty sphere as a beauty enthusiast myself. And we've seen many brands create some VR experiences just to have something that's immersive for people and imitates real life. And one thing is Charlotte Tilbury. She did this virtual beauty shop, and it's like a holiday wonderland in itself, and very it really looks like her brand, really looks like her. She's even in the space and she talks through the different products. It's overall very well done. And very maximalist, like everything's in there, all the glitters and all the products. So a great VR experience on her side. Yeah.
That's cool. I've been in a different world, but the one that I was recently is I feel like my friends and I had always been like huge White Russian fans around the holidays, random, but
the dude.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, with the news of him like now having going through some things, I feel like it's been elevated even more, and like it seems like he's doing all right now. But I was just like, all the Kahlua commercials and things that are driving right now through that, they started something like Nitro Cold Brew that has been really kind of like somehow again pushed to me. I think they know that I'm in White Russian season, but that's been the one that's been really kind of sticking and resonating with me. So I thought that was those are really great though. I love those. And I saw Andrea saying that she had actually worked on that ad, Steven, which I thought was kind of funny too. So
oh, nice. Yeah,
so she's actually on here listening to them. I did have a question. So we had one come in. This one was, sorry, she clarified just the PR. I appreciate that. There was a question that came in, and this one was actually driven to you, Sophie. As a global fashion brand like ALDO, would you set up dashboards to basically view performance across all of your markets? or something they specifically touched the UAE, where your brand actually has a really large presence? Like, how are you kind of visualizing or doing those types of things today to kind of understand that performance?
Yeah, we absolutely track, our different markets. So the way we did it with Socialbakers and also like how we operate on Facebook, we have a global structure. That means that we have regional pages that cater to the audience based on their geolocation. But also like all our insights are together, and also we can share content that's across different regions whenever it's appropriate. And so in Socialbakers, we track all of our pages, and we're also able to see, the fan base growth on Instagram page for that region. And in our dashboard, we present, we kind of break it down. Some slides are only for our North American results. And we have many different slides as well that definitely showcase our growth, some key learnings in the market. And that includes UAE because it is such an important market for us. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I feel like, right, two major global brands and visibility, teams being the size that they are. And again, like kind of going back to shout outs more to you guys on that, but it's to me something that I find is so unique when we get to meet folks like you who are so, open with us on what the problems are, what the things are that they're excited about, but like how the vision works as far as driving those things. That's been kind of, I think, one of the things that 2020 has also opened up this path of transparency between our brands, whether they're partners, whether they're prospects that I'm meeting with, right? Or however that will kind of work. So kudos to you guys kind of on that as well. We do have a few more minutes for questions. I'm going to let people maybe pop them in if they want now. I know we've had a couple coming in and out. I'd love to just ask, I had one more that's always one of my favorites, but favorite either social follow or podcast that you guys are listening to right now? Because I feel like I'm in the weeds on a million of them and just like digging deeper, but would love to hear kind of who your favorites are from those things, as far as like maybe the audience also jumping on the train with you.
I'll let you take this one.
Okay. In terms of podcast, and maybe a little niche, but I'm a big, RuPaul's Drag Race fan, and two of the alum are Trixie Mattel and Katya, and they have like this hilarious YouTube series, and they recently launched their podcast called The Bald and the Beautiful, being that both are bald men, and they just have their friends come over, and they are completely unfiltered and completely dramatic and hilarious. And that's not necessarily educative, but it's a very fun and entertaining podcast that I recommend.
I love it.
I think for me, more recently, not so much podcast, but some content creators. So naturally working within games, I myself play a lot of games. I follow like ACG. He's a YouTube content creator, does a lot of in-depth reviews around kind of development, in-game mechanics and world building. So just kind of anything that kind of adds a little bit of context as to, we always do so much marketing as far as, this is the biggest title. I think really taking that step beyond that and understanding some of the inner workings is what drives those insights that we build content on, and really understanding why fans may gravitate to certain titles. As far as that, I ACG, the Neon Arcade, Cyberpunk is a huge topic right now. It's been top of mind for so many players and, just the general industry for years now. So just kind of understanding some of the lore, knowing that it's based on a game from the 80s, is just kind of getting a little bit more understanding. And like, at the end of the day, I'm just a nerd who likes to market about video games and kind of hang out. So, kind of using that knowledge to kind of create a strategy that is representative of the community is really great. And it just so happens that my passions align to the stuff that I'm talking about. So it's a really great opportunity. I'm humbled by it.
Yeah, I love that. The video game space also has been one that's been exploding for us. Also, just from partners' perspective, it's like the Sonys and Naughty Dog, and we've got Square Enix now that's working with this globally. Like, so seeing a lot of the producers as well, like you're really kind of coming in and digging into these insights more and more and more. So it's been so great to kind of see that. So did you guys have, I was going to give you guys one more opportunity. If there's anything else you wanted to share with our audience and or the viewers that are going to watch this VOD after, I'll give you guys one more pass if you have anything else you'd like to throw in, and then I'll wrap after that, if that's cool.
I think closing words for me would be that, social content, every piece of social content should have a goal, right? A measurable goal, but it should also have intent. And I think really understanding kind of the nuance between those and knowing what you want the message that you want your community to take away is what's going to help you achieve your goal, whether it be engagement, shares, growth. And I think really exploring that and exploring kind of the inner workings of the community, their interests, their passions, to really kind of build trust and align, yourself to them, the performance will follow.
Right. Yeah. I love that. That's great. I don't know if you want to jump in, Sophie, with any last thoughts or not. I'll let you do that.
Of course, I didn't really prepare any last words, but it's definitely been a pleasure exchanging with you guys today, about holiday and also about organic social. It's also, always great for us, marketers and social media specialists to just come together, because even if our audience might not be the same or our products is not the same, we definitely have some insights in common, and we're also, I think we have a common vision of what our goals are.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to just say thanks to both of you guys. I mean, this feels so easy, obviously, very conversational. Like for me, it's one of those things that love getting people on here to share their passions. And obviously they're both coming through loud and clear from you guys. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
To anybody that was on, thank you for joining. If you're watching this VOD, great. Connect with us. These are my kind of social pieces. If there's, reach out to our speakers, Sophie and Steven. They're both really great from that perspective as well. Connect, share any questions you have with them after. We will be sharing this recording round for anybody that was signed on. And also, I know we're going to be sending over our holiday campaign, hashtag campaign kind of visibility. So this will allow you to align that to your stuff, things that are really kind of popping up and popular through the, kind of the next couple of weeks as we head into the holidays. So that's always something we put out there that we'll be sharing around to everybody that joined today as well. So thank you guys for the time. Again, so great to obviously be able to spend that with you today. We appreciate that, and look forward to seeing you guys soon, hopefully in real life someday soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But have a good rest of your week, and good luck for the holidays.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Awesome.